This is the Rebel Scum Podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/RebelScumPodcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You are always scum. Rebel scum.
Waboom, wabang, we're back, baby. Rebel Scum Podcast. I'm Brock. This is
James.
Oh.
I'm gonna do that for the whole podcast. James.
Hey. Episode 303. We're back from American Thanksgiving, the Pretender Thanksgiving. Thank you for all the views. I hope you enjoyed it. Star Wars. Let's do it to it, James.
Look, Star Wars is a property I'm not all that familiar with. I'm more of a Star Trek guy.
Star Trek.
No, so, dude, this week, did you see 9 years? 9 years since we got the first teaser from The Force Awakens. I can't.
Wild.
A few things. I can't believe it's been 9 years. I also kind of can because a lot of time has gone by, but that was wild. I remember I was at the gym, Brock, at the Square One shopping mall, and I left and I went on my phone and there was a tweet in the Twitters back when companies used Twitter, and it was from Lucasfilm or Disney or whatever, and that's how I saw it. I was like in my car. I'm like, what? And it was wild. And yeah, that was our first look at Star Wars in a decade at that point.
I honestly can't remember. I honestly remember nothing of the first trailer coming out. I remember being excited. Oh, now I remember. It's the teaser, right? Where all of a sudden,
it's been an
head
awakening.
pops up. You're like, whoa! It's a short one, right?
Yeah, there's been an awakening. Have you felt it, or whatever? And then Finn's face pops up.
Yeah,
and we didn't know any names. If you remember, we didn't know any names. And I think it was the next day or the day after they did the Topps trading cards. They're like, this is Kylo Ren. This is that. And they're like, ooh, what are these people? And everybody was like, well, Kylo is Han and Leia's kid, and everyone was dead on that. And Rey, it turns out with Rey, they had no idea either. The people that made the movie didn't know who Rey was either.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later. Fix it in post. It's fine. It's wild because it's that was a pretty for it to be a trailer of the first live action Star Wars movie in 20 years at that point. Yes.
It was 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years. I gotcha. It was 20 years from in between prequels or sequels or original and prequels, right? Yes. No, more than that.
16. It was 16 years between.
I didn't come here to do math.
16 years between Jedi and Phantom Menace. And then 10 years between Sith and Force Awakens.
Yeah. So it's it was pretty cool. It's wow. I do have memories of when the prequels got announced, and you're like, whoa, Star Wars. But as an adult to see a new Star Wars film, you're like, wow, I never thought this would happen. And this is after Lucas sells to Disney, right? Because Disney has full control of all these movies. There's no George Lucas.
Yeah, he sold in 2012, and then they're like, we're doing these movies.
Yeah.
And I guess we knew the name at that point. The hiding of the name didn't become a thing until Endgame, which was, I think it was fun for Endgame. I thought it was kind of stupid for Rise of Skywalker. It's a movie name. Just give us the damn name.
Yeah.
But we knew the name, but we didn't know who any of the characters were, and it was kind of exciting. I remember that teaser. It was just so good. We got BB-8 rolling right away. It was BB-8 rolling, Finn, Rey on the speeder, Kylo with the first glimpse of the crossguard lightsabers.
I want to say
It
you
was
see that shot of Poe in the X-wing, like that, like tight
yeah.
shot of him, which is like a terrible angle for Oscar Isaac, like in movie history, when you really think about it, because it does not look like him.
Yeah, I think that and then you got the X-Wings over the water.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was a fun, I mean, I don't know, it was a good it was a great teaser. It wasn't a good teaser, it was a great teaser. It got
yeah,
whatever anybody thinks of that movie or the sequels, that teaser I think got everybody super excited. It looked like Star Wars. It looked like, I mean, it was definitely.
yeah.
It's funny though because when you look at it, Brock, it's like it brought us back to the original trilogy vibe of Star Wars, which I think at that point in time everybody was kind of jonesing for. But then as time went on, we talk about it all the time. As time went on, the kids of the prequel kids started growing up, and now they're jonesing for that vibe. And it'll be curious to see what we're going. I think with like Mandalorian and that universe, like the Mandoverse, Ahsoka and whatnot, I think we're getting a really excellent blend of OT and prequels,
Mhm.
which is what Star Wars I think needs to be at some point. I'm curious, like with the Rey movie that everybody hates. I'm really curious to see what kind of vibe we get with that one. Is it going to be original
Yeah,
trilogy? Is it going to flow? I think it would be kind of neat if it was original trilogy vibe, like sequel trilogy vibe, where everything the original trilogy, and then we kind of see it go into the glossy sheen of the prequels, and then we can
mhm,
see it get like it just like ebbs and flows. I think it would be fun, but that's me.
yeah. I'm not against it. I'm also for. I mean, no disrespect to Daisy Ridley. I'm all up for like just an old lady Ray, like old man Logan, like make an old lady Ray with like a BB-8 that's like
Well,
clearly been like fixed over and over again.
that sounds like what Damon Lindelof wanted. He wanted the Helen
Mm,
Mirren age. But okay, here's my concern with that because like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, which divided. But the
mm.
one problem with all these movies where they do that, where there's this massive gap, is what happened in between that time. Like
Yeah.
we never get that, and then like everything happened off camera, and it just feels like, but why did it have to happen off camera? Why can't I see it? And then Star Wars, they go back sometimes with Star Wars, but
Mhm.
I think it'd be. I agree with you, but I also think like let's just go on this journey with Ray right now too, and like
Yeah,
see how she gets to old lady Ray with old man BB-8 or
yeah,
old droid BB-8. Like let's I kind of want to see the journey. We keep jumping around. Let's see the progression how she turns to the dark side.
yeah. I don't know. I think like Star Wars works too much on like we drop you in the action, which is like one of the fun things about the original trilogy. It's just like, all right, go. Like it's funny actually. I was looking for news. There was sparse, but like there was a story that I guess in the current Star Wars ongoing Marvel series that's now between Empire and Jedi. Like Luke gets a different lightsaber, like we never see in the movie. He's like a yellow lightsaber, and like that's been that way for the last like 40 issues. And now we're getting close, apparently, in the story to when Luke gets his green kyber crystal, and he meets like a Jedi master that knows kyber and explains like it's like. I mean, I feel like this is news, but it's like put a little bit more eloquently, where it's like the Kyber calls to you, the Kyber chooses you, and you choose the Kyber. So it's like that's their explanation of like the blue, like his original, like the Anakin's lightsaber. It's like it didn't choose Luke, so he didn't use it as well because it's like the mentality in the comic is like a Jedi and a Kyber should work so well that they like the Jedi shouldn't have to think about using the lightsaber. It just is. So it's like those stories are cool, and I would love those backup lore. But it's just like I just like it's like a Star Wars movie has to have a shocking end or cliffhanger, and you have to be dropped in the action, which is like.
But like
I don't
if
know.
you look at A New Hope, you're dropped in the action right away in A New Hope. But then my favorite part is it stops and it becomes a silent film for 15 minutes with two droids and sand. And but then after that, what do we get? We get Luke talking to droids. And then what do we get Luke talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who explains he what you just said would be a really cool scene with like an old Jedi, old Rey, whatever, talking about a Kylo, or even young Rey, because she could be educated, talking to some, like, that's all you need. Just conversations. The problem, I think, nowadays, though, is I don't think audiences want to sit through people talking. When they I think this is the thing with the Rise of Skywalker, because it comes from the last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi was so divisive. Like, people were so split and hated it and loved. And the takeaway was just make an action from start to finish. Don't even breathe. Like, and that's kind of what we got. And it's like, I think though, those moments are so crucial with Obi-Wan and Luke. Like, just like, give us the information, make it solid. And the thing with the movies is that, like, when Rogue One came out, I remember talking to our friend Brett. Rogue One came out. He was like, yeah, that was cool, but why the Kyber crystal? Like, that's never a thing. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be, and it never was. I'm almost like, you bringing that up. Like, this is what these movies need. They need the lore. They need people just talking. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, which we did our rankings last week. It was last, but it was probably the strongest to build lore out of all the TV shows. We got the Railway Jedi. There's all these little things that we get, and it's like, we need. I'm not saying like just make a whole thing about lore. Like, it's got to be in something, but like, we need more of that, and they need to expand, because the Kyber crystal stuff is so cool, but your parents have no idea that that's a thing.
Yeah. It's like, why do we care at all? And especially like Jedi is like a shadow of what it used to be. I don't know. I think it was just sort of like them being like, the Death Star is a gigantic lightsaber. What? I mean, it's like, it's a cool idea, especially since it's created by evil Jedi. So, I don't know. I think the issue I have with like continuing a story is that, like, Star Wars writes itself in a corner where it's like, this person is the chosen one, and they will bring order back to the Force, and it's just like, no one, like, people hear that, but they don't think about the fact that it's like, there has to be a balance. So there will always be evil and good. It just, they need each other to exist. So it's like, which is good, because it's like, you want to keep making shows called Star Wars. There has to be some kind of thing to fight. And there's endless avenues of ways you can go. I mean, I keep saying this, High Republic, solid stories, solid villains, solid characters. It's like, it's proven you can make it. Now, granted, a book is a book. It's a different thing. But, like, you just translate that to the screen. So, like, I hope Acolyte kind of proves that. I mean, from what we know, it seems like we know it's set in the High Republic era. So it's like, it's going to be a little different. I hope that it's not focusing specifically on, like, oh, here comes the Sith. But I don't know. It's just like, I think with the Skywalker saga, you're stuck in, like, we can't undo certain things, because it's like, then it would ruin the story, right? You can't make Luke look bad. You can't unwrite Darth Vader as an ultimate villain. You can have sympathy for him, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the problem, though. Is like they really handcuff themselves with the Skywalkers. No, it's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we're on 7. And guess what? 7, 8, and 9, like 1, 2, and 3. Sure, they're connected to 4, 5, and 6, but they're very separate.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Okay, Vader and Anakin, sure, but it's so separate that you can, like, they can make 10, 11, 12. You have Rey, Finn, whatever. You have them kind of branch off, and then you just go. Like, I was really excited with The Force Awakens. I thought we were just going to follow these new characters, and the old characters were going to show up and be like, "Oh yeah, go on a mission for me." Like, you know, like and maybe I'm in the minority here, but I'm just like, give me the new characters. Take me on the adventure. Don't worry about I've seen those 6 movies. They end it. Like, the Return of the Jedi ends. Like, that's a definitive ending there. So what happens next and why? And just take me on that with these new characters. The old characters can be sprinkled in because they're part of the, like, they exist in the universe. So, it would be great to have them. but just keep doing that. And I think what Andor did better than any other, well, it's also had the most episodes, but Andor brilliantly was like we said this last week, 3-episode arcs, 3-episode. And Star Wars movies work best when it's 3-episode. I mean, I can't really prove that because we haven't got that much, but like 3-episode arcs, like just here's this arc. Great. Here's this arc. And that's maybe they approach the movies with that mentality. You go 3 movies, 3 movies, 3 movies. Just worry about that story for now, and then worry about the next 3 later. And if they can connect, but they don't have to like rely on all the little intricate details.
Yeah, it's just like you like watch a show where it's like maybe it's multiple seasons and like there'll be a mention of something in the first season and then they come back to it in the third season. Like I like idea of peppering that in. But then you kind of like, well, doesn't this become sort of lazy writing? I think it's like all shows and movies should have like, they should start backwards. It's like, where do we want to end? And then go backwards that way. Because it's like, I feel like you could run into an issue where you're like, now we're just making stuff up. It's like,
I mean, Lucas did that with the prequels, basically. He knew how he had to end it. And
that's true.
People didn't like him. But I still think the prequel story, like the 3 story, is the strongest of all of them. But I mean, the execution, the dialogue, whatever we can discuss. But I think what is accomplished in those 3 movies is excellent. Yeah, I think you are right, though. You need to know where you're going when you're telling a story, right? Like you need to, if you're going to do these Star Wars movies, what is, and that was a problem, I think, with the sequels especially, was they didn't know what the point of making those movies was. Like they didn't know what was the end game to it. And they didn't know. I mean, speaking of Endgame, Marvel, though, like Marvel, when they started it, they didn't know about Endgame. They kind of, it fell in their lap. You know, I think over time they lucked out, but that's also because of good storytelling and good planning going on. They're like, you know what would make sense to this? And then you can kind of weave that in. I think J.K. Rowling did that with Harry Potter, too. I don't think she, like, half the stuff in there, I'm no. Like, she, like, made it up. People argue me, or have you argued that of me, but I still think she was making it up as she went along, and then she hit, like, a stride in a groove, and things fell into place, and she goes, let's do it. And that's how it happens. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, that's not a knock on her at all. Like, not even, that is creative, that is creativity.
I mean, outside of like the cancel culture surrounding J.K. Rowling, is like she's not like, she says stuff and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, is this? And there's like the lore that like I wrote the ending of Deathly Hallows and put it in an envelope, and that's the last chapter you see. Like I knew where the kids were gonna end up, and I'm like, get out of here! Like, no, it's just like it's very clever. It's like and like we're talking about Star Wars too. It's like one of the like most notorious Star film series that went and got revisioned and remastered and what have you. Story doesn't change, but like if George Lucas had his way, he would be still working on those 3 movies, which is not a terrible thing. Like here's a great example. I play a game called Stardew Valley. It is a farming simulation where you just live in a town, you grow crops, and you make friends. It looks like something from Super Nintendo, maybe Nintendo era. I put over 700 hours in this game because I played it over and over and over again. And the beauty of this game is the developer, who was one guy up until 5 years ago, just updates the game. So it's like you might play one through this way, and there's different ways you can go, but then you'll get a like, you know, it looks a little bit better. He adds like new events or whatever, and like that's genius. I mean, it's not overly novel, but like I paid $20 for that game once, and now I've played it like this many times. Like, so it's not terrible. I like, especially we live in a world where if you wanted to edit something out of something, we're streaming all of it. So it's like, wouldn't it be beautiful if you like, they made a series and then you get an episode. I'm like, wait, that didn't happen. And then you go back and watch another episode. It's like, oh, it changed. Or I think some people might be angry, but like that could be fun. Like, I was like, you know, I was like, it's a organic thing.
When before Kanye went crazy, Kanye West, for anyone that's
Kanye West,
he did an album like, I don't know, almost a decade ago, I think, probably maybe 9 years ago, 10 years ago. He did an album and it was he put on some site. I can't remember what it was, and it would allow him to change it whenever he wanted. He can go in and revise his music as he sees fit. And I can't remember what it was, but that was a big deal. And people were, it's Kanye West. People make a big deal, but they were like, "Oh my god, what's it going to mean?"
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of a cool idea, but also at some point, something's got to be final when it comes to music and film and TV. At some point, I guess maybe not, but yeah, he did that. So that could be an interesting little tip. I mean, George Lucas did that. He threw Boba Fett in A New Hope. Yeah. He did. And look, we can say whatever we want, but Jango Fett was never going to be an Attack of the Clones. And he's only in it because of the reception that the Phantom Menace got. Let's be honest here. People didn't like the Phantom Menace. They didn't like Jar Jar Binks, and he was like, "This is Boba Fett's daddy," and everyone's like, "Whoa, this could be the coolest thing ever."
Yeah, it's just like what Pete said on our Thanksgiving roundtable, and like I give big ups on this. It's like he's the Boba Fett character. It's like, who's the Boba Fett in this one? Where it's like just a guy that looks really cool, says nothing, has almost no reason to exist in it. Like you could say, I mean, no, Jar Jar. I was gonna say Jar Jar is like a Boba Fett, but he's not really.
No,
he
Jar
does
Jar's
do
not.
stuff throughout the series. But yeah, like it's just like, yeah, it's so true. It's just like throw in that character. You know what? Like, here's the thing. It's like, again, when I was looking for news and there was none, there was like, I guess, oh gosh, what's the guy's name? He did Justice League, and he redid it. Zack Snyder. So Zack Snyder is making Rebel Moon because like Star Wars wouldn't go with it, and now he's like talking trash about, oh, this is where Star Wars is going. I'm like, dude, relax. You made Sucker Punch. Like, calm down. But like, it's gonna be interesting because I will definitely watch Rebel Moon, and it's just like, if it's successful and if it's good, I highly expect it to be entertaining to some extent because Zack Snyder delivers in that sense. It'd be like, okay, you didn't go with it, totally fine, because Star Wars is a brand and it has to appeal. It has to check boxes. But it's like, if this story works, it's like, okay, not a Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder is Zack Snyder. Like, go find the next Zack Snyder, let them do a story.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rebel Moon I haven't seen, so I can't comment on, but I think
it's not out yet. Right?
No, I think it's later in December.
Yeah. I
think Star Wars, Lucasfilm made the right decision to not make it Star Wars. Because I think
probably.
And look, this is not a knock on Zack Snyder. I'm the one that loves Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. I think, I don't have to talk about my love for Man of Steel anymore, but Army of Dead I love. But I just think he's a filmmaker that maybe, I don't think he's right for Star Wars. And I think Rebel Moon is going to be great.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't be a great Star Wars movie because Star Wars is so specific. Andor really pushed the limits.
Yeah, exactly.
But it still was within Star Wars because it kind of had like it pushed it, but it was right there where I think Zack Snyder, he would push it, it would go off the ledge, he would walk it like it would be like there would be a lot going on, and I just think he's better suited for his own IP. Like, just let him, like, because he is creative. Like, let him do his own thing. It's not like some people are. I think Scorsese needs to do a Marvel movie. I think just for the sake of everybody, Martin Scorsese needs to do the Punisher. The Martin Scorsese's Punisher.
When is someone going to drive him back to the retirement home? Like, what's happening? Thanksgiving is well over.
The problem with Scorsese is the thing is, though, he's not always wrong when he says what he's saying.
No,
he's entitled to his own opinion. Yeah, like, okay, him saying that Marvel movies aren't real movies or amusement, that's what. But what he did say though was that they've kind of crushed theaters, like movie theaters. Like, people won't go see a little movie anymore. Like, no one's gonna go pay to see Rounders anymore. They're gonna pay to see Marvel, and I don't think it's all on Marvel. I think it's also on Netflix and Disney and streaming. The streaming services combined with the blockbusters have really put a damper on movie theater experiences. That's what I think. So I think he's off base a little bit, but I also think he's completely on base. And I think he should probably have more than one Oscar, though.
Yeah. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't get one until he barely talks in the movie. And what does that say about him? I don't know.
What is it? Jeremy Irons won an Oscar in the 90s, and he thanked the movie he was in before because that's when he should have won and he didn't, and he got
Nice.
it's all politics and
time.
nonsense. Yeah,
Big time.
it's fun. Hey, have you watched any Hallmark Christmas movies yet?
No, but I did just literally this evening watch the Melissa McCarthy Genie movie, which is like
Genie, I watched that on the weekend. Yeah,
solid. I was like, ooh, 90 minutes, I'm in.
Yeah, I put it on because
Good.
Aaron wanted to watch a Hallmark movie, and I was like, I'm not in the mood. But I was like, this is a Christmas movie, so I put it on.
Yeah.
And Aaron's like, oh, I don't want to watch that. Nah, nah, nah. And then she loves Melissa McCarthy, so as soon as she found out she was in it, she's like, oh, okay. It was a streaming movie, but it was like 90 minutes, and I was like, it made me laugh a couple times. I'm like, this is and it was harmless. It was innocent, harmless fun. Yeah. And it was it was. I had a couple jokes that made me go, ha 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 ha.
And it moved fast. It moved fast. It's like, here's all you need to know in the first 5 minutes. And you're like, perfect.
Yeah, because I was like, at the beginning, I'm like, wow, they really got lazy on how he got that.
Yeah, no,
Genie
it's just
box.
there.
I'm like, it's just there. And then like I was like, this is kind of stupid. And then like it just started, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like,
yeah,
it was like
not waste time.
Like, that could have been a gift he bought for his daughter instead of what she wanted. But anyway, Genie, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
That's happening. Anyway, they should do a Star Wars Hallmark Christmas movie. That's what the next holiday special should be. It should be.
I'd watch it.
Of course, it would be amazing. Jingling the bells. All right, you want to go to the odds?
Let's go do the odds now. Boom.
Possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Why would you tell him the odds?
Never tell. You never do. You never put baby in the corner, and you never tell them the odds. Never tell me the odds. Brought to you, me, and everyone within the sound of my voice by patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, if you like to hear us ramble about the same thing over and over again, because we don't have a ton of Star Wars content right now, this is the place for you. So go over to patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast and help us out. We will greatly appreciate it and shout you out every week like we do with the following amazing people: Heidi Feder, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Chris Naton, Dale Erdman, Jeff Wilson, Phil Staniforth, Rez, Scott D,
Josh Price, Matt W, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Disney Desi, Den of Nerds, Charlotte, and Ron Prasak. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Boom, boom,
so
boom.
much. By the way, Beetlejuice 2, Brock, almost done shooting. Willem Dafoe is playing a cop in the afterlife who used to be a stuntman and had an accident and died. And now he's a police officer in the afterlife.
Wow.
Don't know why I just thought of that. I have no idea why, but I really wanted to get that off my chest. Sounds like a great movie. Never Tell Me the Odds. Our first odd, thank you, Patreon. Our first odd, Acolyte will win an acting Emmy. Is the Acolyte going to win an Emmy for Best Actor?
Best Actor?
Or, or supporting actor, but it has to be acting.
Acting. It can't be like visual effects or choreography or something like that.
It's for performance. It's for you're a Jedi.
Has a movie with like fighting choreography ever won choreography awards? Is that a thing? Because like there's musicals and whatever. It has to be a musical. It can't just be like there's dancing in it.
I don't.
Anyways, 45%, which is pretty high, I think.
It's very high. You're like basically saying there's a really good.
Could make it.
It could be. I'm gonna go. Heidi. No, Heidi. Jeffrey Jones will not be in Beetlejuice 2. I think he's still in prison. Get him out of here. I'm gonna go 27%. I don't think it's gonna happen. It could happen. I don't think it's going to though. It would be nice if an actor in Star Wars did win. Alec Guinness was really good, obviously. Is that the best performance? You know who should win, but he won't even get nominated, is Ray Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
He was phenomenal. Never Tell Me the Eyes are next. Grogu will speak by the end of Mando season 4. Well, I'm not, and not necessarily like continuing sentences forever and ever. Like a few words here and there. Like it won't be like go. He'll be like Wolverine, like that.
Yeah. Is season 4 going to be the end of Mandalorian?
Look, as long as it makes money, Disney's going to keep pushing it.
I feel like it's what you go out on, and that's assuming like it's just you come to an end of that era. You could bring a Grogu back in the future movies. That's I totally get that. But season 4, unless season 4 is the end, I'm gonna go 30% because I feel like that is the thing that is you're jumping the shark in the Star Wars streaming. Like that's when you have run out of ideas. You're like, make them talk. Like there's nothing better than a grown man in a mask talking to a puppet for the bulk of a series.
I'm gonna go 30%. Because I don't think you do it in season 4 unless it is the end. And I just think even if it is the end, they are doing the Mandoverse movie, which will probably include these characters. Unless they figure out a way to get them out of there, might include these characters. So as soon as he starts speaking, that's jumping the shark, like you said. That's a very, very slippery slope.
I feel like they should keep it as a way to launch the next movie, where it's like he says something which is it turns out to be a prophecy or something, whatever, for a future thing. And then, or like he says one word and it changes how the Star Wars galaxy works. So we get dropped into a new movie series and it's like, this is how the galaxy has changed after the Grogu words. Like that would be kind of cool. And then in those series, at some point, at a very pivotal point, you bring Grogu back older. And then you're like, here's your new Yoda. Or I don't know. Along those
as long as he's not teenage Groot. Yeah. And our final odd, at least 2 new projects and Ahsoka season 2 will be announced in 2024.
I'm gonna go full Brock on this one because like it would be stupid not for them to do it, but just like I don't know. I mean, Filoni's in place now, so it's like when is he gonna start making moves? But like it's like, well, I mean, it'll still be like a Kathleen Kennedy like announcement, right? It will. I mean,
I think she would still do. She's the head of the Lucasfilm, but he's in charge of Star Wars. I think is how it goes. So he still has to report to her. But I think he's got a long leash.
Well,
look, aside from the ending of Ahsoka not being anything, it was like he's kind of solid. Like Ahsoka just stopped. If Ahsoka would have had an ending, I think he'd be batting 1,000 right now. But his batting average dipped a little because it didn't go anywhere. I think Ahsoka season 2 has to be 100% announced. Season 2 for Ahsoka, but I think 2 more. Bob Iger came out and he said we're going to less quantity, more quality. Which I don't believe for a second. I think they'll start that way, and then the minute one of the like they're already like, and we're gonna. He says that, then the next thing I read is like She-Hulk season 2, and like something else season 2's. I'm like, what? Like the minute like it's throw like I don't know. So I don't buy that for a second. I think they will slow down for a minute. And then the minute, Shang-Chi 2 or whatever makes $1 billion, they'll be like, we need more of these. And they'll start pumping them out like they used to. So I'm going to go. But that being said, we got the Rey announcement. We got the Mangold announcement. We got the Filoniverse announcement just this year. So I think two more projects I think is really hefty. The Lando thing's also been announced. Like, I don't know, unless there's a random surprise coming, I'm gonna go full Brock as well.
I think it's more likely that they'll show us something finally, or they'll like make a massive announcement of like those pre-existing projects, which I don't think is a terrible move. Like, I don't believe
no,
anything
because
until
they
we
don't
see a
exist.
trailer. Yeah, exactly.
They announced them, but they don't exist. So like the Ray
Yeah.
movie, they're like Daisy Ridley's like, oh yeah, I saw, like, it wasn't even a script, it was like a treatment. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what? Like, that's not okay, fine. She's like, well, not what I expected. Great. And then, you know, the Mangled thing, I don't think he started writing it yet. Taika Waititi is doing something, but who the heck knows what's going on there. And by the way, I have no problem with him doing Thor for the money. I have had taken jobs for the money as well, Brock. So I don't
Exclusively why you take jobs.
yeah, I know. So anyway, but there's so much going on already that just, if you keep announcing, I'm just gonna stop caring even more. And it was hard. Like, I really wanted to care more at Celebration when they announced those things, but I've just been like, I don't know, fool me once. I was out of it. I'm not into it. All right, you want to go to the top 5?
Let's do it.
Oh, I didn't put the graphic for Never Tell
Oh,
Me the
you
Odds.
blew it.
Never Tell Me the Odds and top 5.
Top 5. What are the top 5 today, James?
We're just gonna do top 5 Force Awakens moments because it's been 9 years since that teaser. I was gonna do top 5 moments from the teaser, but there's only like 7 shots in the teaser, so it really wouldn't have worked. So let's do top 5 Force Awakens moments. But I am gonna cheat and I am gonna put that teaser trailer as my number 5 because that was like, hey, oh, what is this? All right, and it was looking good. It sounded good, and I was very excited.
My number 5 is gonna be Kylo Ren stopping the blaster bolt in like the first scene where we meet Larsen Tekka. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, that's cool. Like, just like what visually you're like, yeah, this is what George Lucas has been dreaming about. So, and then like he's so strong that they leave and it's like they take off and then the bolt leaves the air. Yeah, I love that stuff.
My number 4 is going to be that scene, but the beginning when you have BB-8 looking up at the stars, and I was like, oh my god, that droid looks amazing. It's just that first moment. It's a nice quiet moment with BB-8, but it's not quiet because we have stormtroopers coming. But I like that moment, so that's my number 4.
My number 4 is going to be similar to my fifth. Number 5, just about visuals. I've said this before, like the lightsaber battle between Kylo and Rey on Murder Planet, like just finally introduces us to like, it's cool that the lightsabers are so bright they're casting light on faces, which is like Ahsoka went crazy with. Like, it just looks so much better, and just that that is one of the lightsaber battles in the sequels that I'm like, oh yeah, like they're making choices on how this looks, because it's just like Rey has no idea what she's doing, but she's just feeling out on the Force with just raw aggression, and you see it, and it's just like, and like Kylo Ren is like, oh, you know, like even though he is probably more skilled than she is, it's just like, and that's just in one scene, nothing is said, you just see it, and then like it kind of points out where the direction of the rest of the movies are with that like that back and forth of Rey and Kylo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. That is my number 3 as well. Is the
nice.
The Star Killer fight. It was fun. It was at the end, and yeah, just the way the lightsabers glowed on their faces and in the snow. It was, what a great moment.
My number 3 is going to be the Chewbacca humor with, "That's not how the Force works." No, sorry. Han, it's the same scene, but Han says that to Finn. No, he turns around and is like, "Oh, you think you're cold?" And it's just like, and then the nurse later on is like, "You're very brave." It's just like, it's like Chewbacca is an awesome character, but like he's perfect for that kind of humor where you're like, I have no idea what he just said, but like it works.
My number 2 is the ending with Luke, because it was kind of like it. The one thing the movie does very well is it feels complete, but then it also ends on a cliffhanger. Like you feel like, okay, I just watched the movie. Oh, and here's the tease at the end of the movie. And it was Luke of all the characters. So I'm going to go with that as my number 2.
I think I can do visuals, but I'm gonna make it specific on this one. It's like Jakku just looked awesome. Like the battlefields of leftover stuff. Like Rey, she just lives in a hollowed out AT-AT, and just like it's just like that detail is like what makes Star Wars cool. It's like this is a lived in universe, and like seeing all that stuff on Jakku is great. So I love it.
Yeah, my number 1 is going to be Rey scavenging through the old Imperial
Star
Destroyer. It was awesome, and seeing that in the teaser was a great moment as well. Because you're like, oh, what's going on? Oh, it's Star Wars. Things have been lived in, and now we're extra lived in that one. So that is my number 1.
My number 1 is. Have you seen this droid? White and orange astromech droid, one of a kind. Like BB-8. It's just another proof of like how a Star Wars movie always has to have a quirky droid. You know, R2, BB-8, Chopper. Oh gosh, it's not really the same because he actually can talk. But like the droid from Andor, I can't remember. RM.
Yeah, B2 emo.
B2 emo. Yeah, I just like it's the beauty of that, and it's just like you're right. Like he has those droids that you can't understand that just sort of roll into scenes and out of scenes. It's like there's like a gravitas that like you're like I like Rey saying she's Rey Skywalker, but then she walks away into the sunsets, and BB-8's rolling. I'm like, yeah, well, the droid. Like, you got the droid now. Like let's just go. Like it's just like I think it's why Mandalorian is so successful. It's like warrior with weird little character that says weird stuff, and you're like, dude does weird stuff. It's like I'm in.
He's bringing up R5 and the Mandalorian. Yeah,
exactly.
Those are our top 5. Let us know what your top 5s are in the comments below. It's always fun to talk the wars of stars.
Absolutely.
Star Wars. Next week. Oh, yeah, Patreon. If you're on Patreon, forgot to mention this. Don't forget to send in your ranking of the 11 live action motion pictures. Brock, I'm going to need yours. Obviously, I know your rankings are Rise of Skywalker, Attack of the Clones, or your 1-2 punch. As always, not to spoil it for anybody, but those are your 1-2. So it was going to be fun. The ranking of those shows was fun. It was fun to see like how everybody liked them different, but the rankings kind of they went exactly how I kind of thought they would. No real surprises, I don't think, but it's fun to see. So we're gonna add more people this year to the rankings so that the list will have some changes as well. So if you haven't put those in Patreon, please do so. Brock, I'll be yours. I'll reach out to everybody else. But that's it. 303 episodes. We're coming like by the end of this year. We're gonna have like we should have. We'll be short next year. Not the end of this. In 2025, Brock, because we'll still be doing this strong. We will have enough episodes to air one a day for an entire year.
Yeah, we will.
Anyway, episode 303. Anything else you want to say before I say goodbye?
No. Okay, bye.
Oh, hold on a second. Hello? Hello? Sorry, wrong number. Hello? Oh, did you get somebody on the phone?
Hello?
Somebody's on the
Is this tax? Yes. It's very taxing. All right. She's fired.
All right.
Kathy,
Brock, you were always scum.
Rebel scum.
Hold on. Okay, now you're scum.
Scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.